Disclaimer: this video is not intended to show you where the best meth is found in southeastern Missouri. Sorry, meth heads. How's it going, YouTube? Hope all of you are staying safe during this COVID-19 pandemic. I am outside of this weird gas station. New Madrid does have a very interesting story to it. It is in a very odd location in terms of the plates underneath the ground. I'm not a scientist, I don't know all the terms, but I do know that earthquakes have happened here in the past, and there was a huge one early on in the town's history. There have been plenty of smaller earthquakes since then. I used to live in southern Indiana when I was in 8th grade, so this was around 2006 maybe, and I remember I was in southern Indiana about, I don't know, maybe 8 hours from here, and there was an earthquake epicentered in southern Illinois, not too far from here, and I remember feeling that morning when I was in 8th grade. And it's all with the same system of plates, or the same New Madrid fault line, whatever it is called, right underneath this town. This town is very interesting in that matter. However, this town has also suffered some severe economic setbacks, and so is the other town that I feature in this video, Caruthersville, Missouri. I believe I said that right. If not, you can let me know in the comments below. However, Caruthersville, Missouri has suffered worse than this town. There are all kinds of towns across rural America just like these two towns, and today I show you both towns, but first, let's check out Caruthersville. Turns out that I was wrong on the pronunciations of both towns. The first town is called Caruthersville, and the second town is pronounced New Madrid. Both towns are in the region known as the Missouri Boot Heel. Don't ask me how New Madrid is a part of the region. It doesn't make sense to me either, but somehow it is. This land was claimed by Missouri after a local named John Walker that lived on this land didn't want to be a part of Arkansas, understandably so, right? He wanted to be a part of Missouri. After that request was successful, this land is now known as the Missouri Boot Heel. I only know that because I watched a Smithsonian Channel Aerial America episode of Missouri, guys. Anyway, I'm not sure if this region reflects the image more so of Missouri than it does the image of Arkansas. This region is far away from any decent-sized metro area. Take I-55 south, and that's about an hour and a half from Memphis. Take I-55 north, and that's about 2.5 hours to St. Louis. The isolation factor might be a contributor to the fact that drug usage is heavy here, as the Boot Heel counties back in 2008 had more meth labs per capita than anywhere in Missouri. And that's saying a lot since Missouri is the meth capital of the United States. Early on, this was a cotton farming region. Now it's more so a mixture of agricultural crops. The Boot Heel is made up of 3 counties, New Madrid, Pemiscot, and Dunklin counties. We only travel through New Madrid and Pemiscot counties in this video. As always, guys, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like, subscribe, and check out my channel for more. Caruthersville, Missouri is the county seat of Pemiscot County, once again in the Missouri Boot Heel. Pemiscot apparently means liquid mud in the Fox language, referencing the floodwaters from the Mississippi River. The Fox language originated from the Indians that once lived on this land. What's also interesting is that the Mississippian culture once occupied the land in Missouri and Illinois surrounding the Mississippi River, and there are dozens of man-made earth mounds left behind from that generation. One happens to be about 4 miles southwest of Caruthersville. I couldn't help but notice this vacant building. Later on in the video, I stopped by again for a closer look. If anybody knows what this building used to be, you should leave a comment. Caruthersville has a dark history as it was a racist town in its early days. I'm not saying that it's a racist town today, not at all. I have no idea, and I would guess that it isn't one. However, in the late 19th and early 20th century, given its geographic proximity to the south, 4 different lynchings took place here. Also of note, apparently, the earliest steel cage matches began in Caruthersville, and that was in 1936. As you can tell by the condition of some of the houses and buildings, Caruthersville has fallen on hard economic times. The peak population of the town was 8,643 in 1960. Today, the population is estimated to be 5,500. That might not seem like much, but that is almost half of the town's peak population that has left the city. The average annual household income sits at $29,000 a year, and 31% of the residents are in poverty. Very telling numbers right there. By the way, that is a levee on the left side of the road, and immediately on the other side is the Mississippi River. This town and the surrounding area does have the threat of severe floods every now and then, along with tornadoes. In fact, a tornado hit the city in 2006. This is downtown Caruthersville. Once upon a time, I can only imagine that there used to be more buildings here. Straight ahead on this street is the Century Casino. We're in a town along the Mississippi River, so you shouldn't be surprised that there's a casino. You should probably actually be surprised if you don't see one in a town along the Mississippi River. The median house value in Caruthersville is 80 grand, not very good at all. What's also not very good is the education of the adults in this town. Only 74% of adults 25 and older have a high school diploma, and only 14% of adults 25 and older have a bachelor's degree or higher. The average high school graduation rate in the US is in the 80% range, and the average college degree rate for the US is in the 30% range. The violent crime rate in Caruthersville is 1,241 per 100,000 residents. The U.S. average is 382 per 100,000. The property crime rate here is 4,787 per 100,000 residents, while the U.S. average is 2,362 per 100,000. You have a 1 in 16 chance at being a victim of a crime in Caruthersville. Something else of note is that within a matter of only 3 days after I drove through this town, according to Kate 8 TV based out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, there were 3 shootings that occurred during one night in this small town of 5,500 people. That's a lot for a small town, and to put that into ratio with a bigger city, that would be equivalent to 325 shootings in Detroit. Massive drug busts are happening in this city all the time as well. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, meth usage is a big problem in the Missouri Boot Heel region. This is a problem, however, for many small towns across the Midwestern US, so it's unfair to signal out just this region. Meanwhile, here is Caruthersville High School, home to the Tigers. As you can tell, this is the side of town that you would want to live in if you had to move here. How about one last look at the Tigers football field before we move on from the high school? Now we're getting to some of the abandoned commercial buildings near downtown. This is the main street, as you can tell. I do make some turns in order to get some better looks at some of the vacant buildings, but eventually I do make the drive down Ward Avenue, which is the main street, through downtown. As I make some of the turns off of the main street with some of the houses that you see, at least you can tell that some of the small town charm hasn't yet been lost. And here is the main street going through downtown Caruthersville, Missouri. It kind of looks like a ghost town. This is during the COVID-19 pandemic, so that might also be a factor, but something tells me that this town looks like this during normal times as well. You know you're in the Missouri Boot Heel when your local optometrist office is called Boot Heel Eye Care. This building had to have been the most eye-catching building of all the abandoned ones in this town. Here's that building that I wanted to come back for and check out. It looks like the owner left some crap hanging around here to rot. Literally. If any of you know what any of these abandoned buildings used to be throughout this video, please comment below and share what you know. It would be really interesting to know what they were. Before I take off for New Madrid, something here caught my eye, and this is what caught my eye: an abandoned Walmart. You don't see too many of these. This town had to have been devastated by the Walmart closure in my guess, as there are only gas station, convenience stores, and Dollar General type stores throughout this city that are left. First, the Walmart comes in and kills the downtown shops, and then the Walmart leaves, making it hard to shop for things that you might need in this town. Anyway, I guess the days of playing Walmart tag in Caruthersville are over. Now it's on to New Madrid. And here we are, New Madrid, Missouri, the town that back in 1811 and 1812 suffered a series of earthquakes measuring up to a magnitude of 8.2 on the Richter scale. To this day, the town often experiences very minor earthquakes on the scale of around 1, which can barely be felt if at all. I checked the USGS website to see if there was one here on the day that I was down here, which was April 3rd. Turns out that there was one the night after I was here. Epicentered across the Mississippi River in Ridgely, Tennessee, with a magnitude of 2.2. That's only if you care. As you can probably tell, this town is doing better economically than Caruthersville. However, it still has some dark history that Caruthersville has as well, as 3 lynchings took place here in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Agriculture surrounding this area practiced slavery as well. population of New Madrid peaked in 1990 at 3,350 people. Today it has 2,857. That will be something to watch in the future to see if the population keeps dropping. Some of you might think that it's no big deal if the population drops by only a few hundred, but it really is, because residents of a town form a tax base, and less residents means less money for the town to provide good services such as police, fire, trash pickup, and funding for the schools. That's a big reason why it's even more crucial for these small towns to maintain their populations. The trend that we're seeing today in small towns across America is that young people are leaving for better opportunities in bigger metropolitan areas, and to be completely honest, I can't blame the ones that are deciding to leave their small hometowns. Opportunity honestly is better in the larger metro areas. One other thing that I wanted to point out about the struggles of small towns is that a lot of these small towns have tap water that is not safe to drink. That's an issue that literally nobody talks about. They'll talk about Flint, Michigan for days, but there are hundreds of small towns just like this where the water is not safe to drink due to outdated pipe infrastructure. Towns of the size of New Madrid and Caruthersville don't have the funds to fix the problem and install modern pipes that won't put lead in the residents' tap water. And to be clear, I'm not saying that New Madrid or Caruthersville have this problem, but I do know that there are hundreds of towns this size that do, and it wouldn't surprise me if these two towns that I'm showing you in this video also have that problem. As you can tell, this is downtown. I'm going to guess that this is just a typical demolition project on the left. Most of New Madrid looks like a charming small Midwestern town. This part of town, however, looks like an episode of the Trailer Park Boys. And if you must move here, it looks like this is the part of town that you would want to check out. Well, that's about it for this video. If you enjoy my videos, make sure you like, subscribe, and check out my channel for more. We'll see you next time. Peace!